Welcome to Heal People, Healing People. My name is Trish, a woman who learned the hard way that healing isn't a straight line. It's a whisper, it's a break, it's a rise, it's a journey back to yourself after trauma, hurt, or pain that stole your voice. This podcast was born out of my own healing, the night I cried out, the prayers I whispered, and the moment God reminded me that my story was not meant to stay silent. Every wound that I survived became a testimony, and every testimony became a bridge for someone else. Here, we honor the truth that healed people never stands alone. We reach back, we lift up, we pour in love into every place that was once bled. This is where healing means purpose. This story turns into strength, and this where community becomes medicine. Welcome home. Welcome to another Heal People, Healing People podcast. Legacy, leadership, love, and culture. Featuring our great, beautiful guest, Sheron Simpson. She's a retired principal, educator, African dance instructor, and a caregiver, and a woman of faith. How are you doing today?
I am doing well. Trish, thank you so much for having me. It's truly an honor to be here.
Thank you.
I'm so grateful.
And we're grateful that you did accept our invitation. So we're just going to jump into the good chicken soup of it.
Right.
All right, Sharon, you have spent a decade shaping lives through education, leadership. Looking back, what inspired you to become an educator and eventually a principal?
Wow, that's a great question. And I'm not so sure that I can say education chose me, but there were children in my life that I wanted to help because way back in the day when I was in school, I had teachers that helped me. I can remember my fourth grade teacher, Miss Frances Brown. We used to always have spelling bees, and she cared so much. And then I had a physical ed teacher, Miss Robinson and Miss Morrison, and they made an impact on me. And so I think education just found me. And the when I finally got involved in education after graduation from Virginia State University, came back here to Lynchburg, and it was just everything and more that I wanted because I wanted to love on children, especially those who never really felt love before.
Mm.
And so I started here at Dunbar Junior High School at the time. And so, yeah, it was just a beautiful match.
Yes, I love it because our pastor, right?
Hmm.
Our executive pastor, he was saying you used to teach, and I was like, well, she looked younger than you.
Well, back in the day, before Lynchburg transitioned to um, the different high schools, he was in my classes there because we had probably 1,200 children. And I taught health and phys ed. So there were 11 gym teachers, Mr. Bill Austin, and it was just so many of us. There were 11 of us. But yeah, so Sterling and Leland Melvin, our astronaut,
Yes.
they were in the ninth grade, my first year of teaching.
Wow.
And then my youngest brother was also at that school.
Wow.
He was in the ninth grade.
So it's like 360 all
Oh
around.
my
I
goodness,
love
yes.
it. I love it.
Yes.
Did you always know education was your calling, or was it one lesson leadership, or one lesson a leadership taught you that still guides you today?
Well, I'll tell you, when you watch people like Dorothy Swain, who is a person who taught me as well, because my first year teaching, I would run up to her classroom. That's how I learned how to type on my planning period. And so I could say that following great people, you just kind of end up there. You just get this knack of, ooh, that's the way Miss Swain did it. So I am probably a product of a lot of the teachers who I had, and especially Dr. Swain. because like I said, Miss Swain had some excellence all around her. She would tell her children, you need to be in my classroom, you need to have 2 lines of typing done before that bell sounds. So I had to live up to those same standards. And I was all the way in the gym on the other side of the building. I had to go up to her class, sit down in my chair, and have 2 lines typed. But today, I'm good on the computers because of Miss Swain.
Amen.
So I think, having that in my background, I was destined to teach
Yeah.
and to help others. So yeah, I love teaching. Our bishop, our bishop preached this morning about things that come natural, and I think that's one of the things that God gave me. Teaching does come natural because I'm a problem solver. And that's what teaching is. You got to have these tricks. You got to know, try and chew. You got to do the pitfalls, all that kind of stuff. So he was in my doorstep today. And he was like, okay, yeah.
Yes, he was stepping on some toes and, encouraging. That's why I like how certain people preach. They're not only preaching, but they teaching. Because today was more of a teaching, and I
Yes.
loved it.
Oh, yeah.
I loved
Yeah.
it.
Me too.
As a principal, you were responsible for students, teachers, and family. What was the greatest challenge and greatest reward of leading a school?
Okay, so a couple of things. I was in Washington, D.C. Okay. Now, first, that in itself has its own dynamics. And I did not do everything right. And not because I didn't want to, but if you're not born and bred Washingtonian, I can honestly say you don't get the same help that if you're from Washington, D.C., because there were cohorts that I really wanted to be a part of, but I kept hearing that, oh, Washington, Britain, but, born and bred. But it was okay. I operated a lot of the time without help in my schools. And so that made me reach deep into my faith and pray a lot about getting through because of the politics, the whole 9 yards. It was just amazing. So I not only had children, parents, the community, because I was in Southeast Washington, D.C., in Ward 7, and Ward 8 was right next door. Mayor Barry was the mayor at the time, and there were a lot of dynamics. So you better be prayed up if you don't have help. But then I was able to hire some people, and I had a triage in my school. A gentleman by the name of mm, Lord, he would forget me. We called him Mr. Mike, and Mr. Mike became our behavior therapist of sort. And then we had a social worker and a guidance counselor because those were the needs that we had in that area. And so I did not have an assistant principal. The school, we had 400 children in that area. And so we had to reach out in the community. It was a lot of dynamics. It taught me so much about people, about, you got to love the people that you work with. And in a way where they're supportive. And then you have to listen to them. So we had a lot of leadership changes in DC, but through it all, God brought me through it. And I'm grateful for the lessons that I learned there. Um, it was impactful, but I think teaching and then people saw in me things that I would go into, like my supervisor was saying, I think you need to go into leadership. And so I think what they were saying is that I could impact more than just 35 children in the classroom. So they pushed me towards administration. And that's really how I got started in Baltimore County, then to Oak Hill Youth Center, which was a facility for adjudicated youth. And we brought that from out of receivership. And we had 5 years when we brought it out in 3. And so I had that experience, then on to DC. So it was a lot. It was a lot that I'm grateful for, a lot that people empowered me to do. I didn't know, I didn't even think I could do it because I hadn't thought about it. But I'm grateful, just so grateful to have impacted the lives of children and adults. And in my teaching career, I always found somebody that I could pour into. And we're still in touch today. I have so many children that when I was teaching at the middle school and became principal, they were like, where are you going this year? You know, here in Lynchburg, when I was here, if you moved every year in a school, oh, it was not looked upon as something great. It was like, oh, you must not be good. But in DC, in Baltimore, and in Maryland, they wanted us to move because they wanted, if you're good where you are, take it somewhere else. Don't just keep it all in this one neighborhood. So our superintendent uh, put a challenge out there. Okay, if you're that good, let's see you go on the east side. Yeah. So we started going out to Essex and places like that, Dundalk, and you know, but that was in Baltimore. So I mean, I've just had a rich career, and all I can look back and say is, thank God, I couldn't have done it by myself.
I wish and I can't talk about bad where I'm from because I'm from Miami, but we had so much of a cluster
Hmm.
and overcrowding. I didn't have some teachers. Like, I'm so proud of, that I made the decision to move here because there's certain teachers that are my daughter would still talk about.
Yes.
She still remember her pre-K. I
Oh,
can't even remember my pre-K
wow.
because I didn't have somebody to pour into like how she has. So it's like certain places, and like you said, like, and then I'm not saying you have to do great things, but just to pour in them kids. Because even when she was in your dance class and now she's back, she used to just love it. Like, you actually did not focus on and I don't know if they do it here. I know in Miami, they didn't really worry about you if your parents wasn't involved, or they thought your parents wasn't involved. My mom was a single mom. She worked 3 jobs, so she couldn't be involved as me.
Right.
And even though I understood and I was in AP classes, but I'm getting bullied, so I had to fight back. So y'all called me a problem child, so y'all didn't want to help me. So
And
I understand. I truly appreciate educators like that because I don't remember none of mine.
you bring up a very important point. When I was a teacher, and at the beginning of the year, they tried to pull all these children together in the classroom, and they would put all of the children who seemed to have behavioral difficulties in my class. I learned to love it because you know what? You're gonna see the fruit of your labor. Because if you said Johnny can't read or Johnny can't behave, well, by the end of that year, Johnny's going to behave because we're going to put some plans in place. And I'm sorry, you know what? Because I was tapping, you got me started now. But anyway, Johnny can read because we got to pour into Johnny. We're going to see Johnny walking down the street. Johnny's going to be a doctor one day. He might have to, work on you. So you better be nice to Johnny. And so for that, oh, you struck a nerve when you start talking about, people, saying, oh, you're not this, you're a bad child. There's no such thing as a bad child. I mean, we make bad choices, but there are no bad children.
But they don't even understand. You're just judging.
Yeah.
Like, I was fighting like because at that time I'm coming from, well, I was 7 when I moved to Miami.
Mm-hmm.
And while I was going to school, my mom was just learning English, so it sounded weird.
Oh,
So I'm sounding like her. Yeah.
yeah.
So I'm sounding like, I can't even do the accent no more. I used to make the accent, but I'm sounding like that. So now y'all want to fight me. And at that time, I didn't understand why the Black Americans didn't like us. But now I got to fight for my life to the point where I got damaged eardrums and I have to wear hearing aid.
Wow.
But y'all was thinking, oh, it's the Haitian kids.
Right.
They're bad. No, we're fighting for our life because these kids thought us as a threat and we wasn't. We're just going to school because our parents made us.
And you deserve to go. I mean, we all deserve a great education. And we are differently able. I don't care if we're white, black, whatever the culture is. We are all differently able. We can do things. Everybody, oh gosh, girl, you're striking nerves because it makes me think about Lynchburg and how they closed our swimming pools, for example.
I heard that.
And they only closed the pools because they thought this would rub off. And it's because we're not educating ourselves. So we have to educate ourselves about Haitian culture. the Black culture, the Italian, the whatever, Jewish culture, all of our cultures. We have to make an effort to do that because that's why they mistook you for being something that you weren't. You're just like them, but they fail to see it. But girl, you got me started. I'm like, ooh.
So retirement often means slowing down, but you continue serving your community, your church. What keeps you motivated to stay active and involved?
Oh, a friend of mine, Connie Franklin, wrote a book, and she said, "You don't get old by age. You get old because you stop doing things." And she had a different take on it, but that's the gist of it. So I know God has me in my purpose. Um, I stopped punching a clock, but I didn't stop serving. And that's what God has me doing. And I know it. I talk to him all the time. And that's what I was going to say about those other people that are bothering you. They don't have Jesus. They need some Jesus. Okay, I'm just saying that.
Yeah.
Okay, and look, but yeah, retirement means a different thing for different people. And for those people out there who are retired, it's not an indictment of, oh, you're old. No, it's about enjoying life. It's about giving, loving on people,
Yeah.
loving life, and giving back whatever you can give. And that's what God has me doing. I started the nonprofit that I have in 2016. I was working as a case manager at Horizon. I know I've done a little bit of everything.
Ooh.
But when I came back from DC, I didn't have a job, and Mike Anderson gave me a job counseling. I was a clinician and worked in day treatment, and I was a intensive in-home counselor. So yeah, Mike Anderson gave me a start, and then I went over to Horizon after that. And then in 2016, I retired to do a nonprofit, Kaoma Dance Ensemble, but it's Kaoma Drum and Dance Ensemble because we could do nothing without our drummers. And so I began to serve children differently in culture, letting them know who they are. Because we have to know that. We have to know who we are so we know where we're going. And it's not cliche.
Nope, nope. Because my daughter, we're Islanders. So she was like, "Mommy, some of the dance I see you and Daddy do and Grandma do, it's like what Miss Sharon." I said, "Yeah, because
Exactly.
Haitians were dropped down in Africa, so that's where." And she was like, "Oh, okay." And then she'll just start doing, and she didn't know I was going to
And
dance
you are
class.
good at it.
Yes.
Wish you would dance again. Maybe it'll be in your future. But you were so good when you danced here,
Yeah.
and you had the wings. Remember? Yeah,
So,
it's in the
my
culture.
my mom had, because again I was like Judea, hyper and everywhere going
We
through
all,
this.
weren't we all?
So she had put me in the Haitian folklore classes.
Beautiful.
So that's why I could have did some of the dances you were doing because I learned them as a kid, and it still stays with you.
Yeah.
Like even with that, even though it was African dances,
Yes,
you
yes,
still could do that in praise dancing too.
absolutely. Because it's in your soul.
Mhm.
It's spiritual.
Yep.
And when I'm on stage, I have freedom to be who I am.
Yeah.
I'll say hallelujah in a minute on
Yes.
stage because who you are comes out.
Yep.
I mean, let's face it. And that's what you're saying right now.
Yeah.
All of that dance you studied,
Yeah.
you don't forget it.
No, I don't forget it. But like the retire, what you were saying, and I was just listening to you. I was telling someone, and I think it was my coworker, but make a long story short, it was that I admired you and Mama Rose.
Oh,
I'm like, at y'all season age, I
mhm.
love saying season, that you guys are way faster than me, way always on the go, somewhere doing something. You both are in that choir for
Tanner Sharp,
Thank
top
You.
praise.
And I'm like,
He's amazing.
I said, when I get that season, I want to be like this, where y'all don't have nonstop, and I love it. And like you said, like your friend said, it's just if you're slowing down, you're old.
Oh, your body, our bodies are made to move. our bodies are not made to sit. Like we're gonna sit here, and when we get up, we'll be kind of stiff because it's like, oh, my body's used to moving. I can't even sit long. So if you see me, you'll see me standing most of the time. And I'm moving because that's the way God has our bodies.
Yeah.
And so, but Mama Rose, who, Elder Rosetta Frazier, yeah, it is a lifestyle for us. I can't say that it's anything. It's been a lifestyle for us. We have always moved, and our parents started that. Like my dad was a civic minded person, and I would travel with him everywhere in Lynchburg. He lost his sight, so I was his driver. So I would go everywhere. And so that came full circle for me, just driving for him, becoming a part of Lynchburg Covenant Fellowship and Kumbaya. I mean, it is so amazing. That's why I think we still pour into children. We might not be here to see it, but at least we can pour into them and they can know I can do anything. I, and I love that about Shannon,
Yes.
Shannon's child, Shekinah. When here at the camp here in Zion City, we used to have kids say scriptures and all because I mean, it's church. We're not in the church for the camp, but Shekinah said, "I can do all things through Christ who strengthened me." She was 8 at the time, so see, Shannon poured into her kids. Now, when they're 30 and Shannon is probably 60 or whatever, they're going to think back, Mom taught me all this.
Yep.
That's what's important. Reaching back, pouring into our kids. We got to do it.